Welcome back to the cooking show.
And as you can notice, our butter is nice and melted. Not everything is melted up. So you're going to want to take a small spoon, or you can just use the tablespoon you use to mix it with. Just mix that in. It doesn't have to be completely ready, because by the time you finish mixing all your ingredients together, all the butter will be melted. So we're just going to go ahead and pour that in just the way it is.
Pour that right in.
Now, it's very hot, so be careful on the bowl. You could burn your finger. Now, what are we going to do next? We can't mix this up just yet. It's not finished. Now, we're going to add 1.5 cups of plain flour. You're going to want to start with a 1 cup.
Pour that in. Then you're probably going to need another 1/2 cup.
You're going to need a 1/2 cup. Now make sure that it's separate, because you can't just estimate with how much you're going to put in the cup. You need to have exact measurements, because after all, half of cooking is measuring. So, just going to... Alright, now that there's lots of flour in there, we are going to need a 1/2 cup of sugar.
Lots of flour.
You are just going to need the same 1/2 cup that you used for the flour. It doesn't really matter. So, we're just going to go ahead, take a 1/2 cup of sugar. Now, I have a little sipper in here. Now, it's not quite a 1/2 cup, so you're going to want to get exact measurements on this, because your donuts won't turn out just right unless you have exact. Unless when it comes to the butter, where you can have 6 to 9 tablespoons. Now, for our baking powder, we are just going to need 1.5 teaspoons. A teaspoon is very small.
So we're probably going to want to use a 1 tablespoon.
A 1 teaspoon. And then you're going to want to use a 1/2 teaspoon, because, again, you can't get exact measurements from half measurements. So
After you have that, just pour it on in.
Now, that looks fantastic, amazing. Now, the recipe will turn out just fine when you're finished. It doesn't look too great now, but it'll look a lot better later. Now, we have got to stir this up. A wooden spoon will do just fine, a classic wooden spoon. Now, me and Katie are going to take turns stirring, since stirring is, of course, the most important job. Now, I'm not going to completely stir, because the most important part has not been completed yet. We need 3/4 cup of milk. So I'm just going to go into my fridge, get out the milk, fill this 3/4 way. Now, you don't fill the 3/4 cup 3/4 way. You're going to fill it to the rim until it's almost coming out. Now, Katie, doesn't that look good? Not yet. Now, although it may not look the best now, you are going to love how your donuts taste.
Okay, so why don't we start putting in the sprinkles?
The sprinkles are one of the most important things
You'll be in charge with the
recipe.
pink ones.
Of course.
And we're just going to pour in as much as we want.
Alright. If you can't make frosting, say you don't have powdered sugar, we are showing you the alternative. You're just going to add sprinkles right into your batter. This will make it a delicious way for your whole family to get the sprinkles that they want.
And things that we know that you wanted.
To give it a crunchy effect when you bite into the donut, it'll mix it up a bit. Chocolate chips? Anyone?
Yes.
Just a small amount though, because
Or as much as you want.
now it's going to turn a different color because of all the sprinkles that you put in. gonna look almost like Funfetti cake batter. If you've ever seen Funfetti, you know what I'm talking about. Now, as Katie mixes the donuts, I'm gonna talk to you all about how these are made. Now, as you can see, we just made the full batter. Now, they are made perfectly delicious. They are so good, and they're great for everyone. Now, anyone can eat them. They're just so good, aren't they, Katie?
Yes, they are very good.
Okay, I think we're finished mixing. Okay. Now, I'm going to go and get a measuring cup.
At the end, the batter should look somewhat like this.
Your batter should be a little bit thin, but a little bit thick at the same time. Right in the middle is sort of a way to describe it. Now, a plastic or glass measuring cup will do just fine because you want to make sure you get the even amount in for pouring. Now make sure you only get what the measuring cup can fit inside of the measuring cup, because if you don't, you'll have too much batter and it will make the donuts overall a runny mixture, and they won't be as good as they would be if you follow the directions as they were meant to be followed. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and fill the pre-mixed donut holes. Now, you only need to pour a little bit. The rest will fill itself. If it doesn't, feel free to add a bit more donut. Now, that looks good.
Alright, now while these cook, just enjoy the commercials. Be back after.